Hi, third grade. Today we're starting our geometry lessons for chapter 9. So we're doing lesson 9.1 today, and it's in your textbook on pages 304 to 305. So please go and get your textbook and open to that page. Okay, so we have about 6 different vocab words that you should recognize from your words from yesterday that you had to print out and study. So let's go through a few of them. Let's go through the 6 that are in today's lesson for 9.1. The first one is a line. Now you will simply see this as a straight line with 2 arrows, one on each end. A line represents every number. So you'd see probably 0 in the middle, and it would go this way forever and that way forever. As many numbers as you could possibly think of. It's like a line. It goes on, it continues and it continues. For a line segment, you only have a portion of it. So you have a starting point and you have an ending point. And the line connects. So it's a line piece of the line. For a ray, you have a starting point, and then it continues forever. All the numbers from that point on. That's a ray. For intersecting lines, they are two lines that intersect at one point. And the middle is the point. That's where they intersect. So it's 2 lines that intersecting lines. They meet in one spot. Parallel lines. So they're a line, and they are always the same distance from each other. That means they go in the same direction. There's not one that goes sideways and then one that goes up and down, and there's not one that goes sideways and then one that angles. They always are even. No matter at what point in the line you would look at those 2 lines, they would be parallel. They would be the same distance from each other. That means they're parallel. Perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines means you have one line that goes straight across and then one that goes straight up and down. And then they would meet at a point, one point, but that point also makes 4 corners. Does that make sense? So when we start talking about angles, you'll know that perpendicular lines make a right angle. So you don't have to worry about that yet, but you'll know, you will soon. You'll understand what that means. So you can see that there's a corner. There's a corner, there's a corner, there's a corner, and there's a corner. So that's perpendicular line. Okay, let's go ahead and look at some of the questions in your textbook, starting with page 304. Number 1 through 8, you have to give the name of each line segment, ray, or none. So let's look at number 1. It has a starting point and then an arrow. So number 1 is ray. Number 2, it has a line and then an arrow on both ends. What do you think that could be? A line and then 2 arrows on both ends is a line. Number 3, it has a starting point and an ending point. 2 spots, 2 dots, 2 points. That is line segment. Number 4, we didn't talk about that curvy line one. It's not a line, it's not a line segment, it's not a ray, so it's none. Number 4 is none. Number 5. Number 5 has 2 points, a starting and an ending, but it's not a straight line in between. So number 5 is none. None of these. I would like you to pause the video and try 6, 7, and 8. Try them on your paper in your textbook. Pause the video and try 6, 7, and 8, and then unpause to check your answer. Number 6 is a line with 2 arrows on both ends. You should have gotten line for number 6. Number 7, you have a starting point, and then you have an arrow that goes and continues one way, which is array. Number 8, it has a starting point, it has a point, and then it has an arrow on the end, but it's not a straight line. So that is none. None of these. Number 8 is none. Okay, let's go to page 305. Now to continue with 9, 10, you have to look at the map above. And it talks about our bottom 3: intersecting lines, parallel lines, and perpendicular lines. That map on page 305 shows you some streets. Main Street, and then there's some other streets that go off of Main Street, like Green Street, Birch Street, and Linden Street. Here's where I'm looking, boys and girls. Do you see this in your book? This is what I'm looking at. Okay, number 9, using the map above, name 2 streets that are parallel. Remember, parallel means they are the same distance, they don't intersect, and they don't make a corner. They're the same distance and they continue in the same pattern. So 2 streets that are parallel. Well, you could have Green and Birch. Green and Birch are parallel. Birch and, what did that one say? Linden are parallel. You could look at that one. Green and Linden are parallel. Any of those 3 combinations. Main Street is not parallel to anything because it doesn't have another street that goes up and down. Only the roads Green, Birch, and Linden are parallel because they are going in the same direction and are the same distance from each other. Number 10, name 2 streets that are perpendicular. Our perpendicular means it makes a corner. A corner. So we need one that goes up and down and one that goes straight across. Up and down and straight across. So if you look at that, and if you look at the map in your book, it has to be, Main Street has to be one of your roads. It has to be. Because the other roads, that's the main road, the Main Street is the only road that goes up and down. The other roads are all perpendicular and go across. So it could either be Main and Birch, Main and Green, or Main and Linden would be your answers. You could have either one of those. Main Street, it has to be one of the roads though. Okay, the next ones, it says, draw a line that, number 11, is parallel to the red line. So let me erase these and we'll do these together. Okay, let me draw out all the dots. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across, and 3 down. So you could draw this on your paper too, boys and girls. And remember, you can always pause the video if you need more time than I am giving you to do things. So number 11, it shows the red line going through the first dot, the middle dot, just like this. I should have made it red. Let's see if I can change it and make it red. Let me use my red marker and I can make it red for you guys. Okay, number 11. You have to draw a parallel line to the red line. Now remember, Parallel lines are two lines that go in the same direction on the same distance from each other, no matter at what point you draw it. So you could draw a line over here. This is a possibility for number 11. Over here. You could draw it there. You could draw it here. As long as it's going in the same direction and it's the same distance throughout. Those are parallel lines. That's number 11. Okay. Number 12. A parallel line to the green line. Okay, let's continue with my dots, and then I'll draw a green line. The green line is straight up and down. Let's draw that one. Here's the green line. This is number 12. So to draw a line that is parallel to the green line, remember, we already did the parallel. It's the same distance. Doesn't matter what side you do it on. It just has to be going in the same direction and be the same distance apart from each other. So you couldn't swerve it over to this line. It has to be the same distance at every point on the line. Number 13, it intersects the red line. Okay, here's our red line again, but I'll do it over here so we can see it clearly and you can see it individually. Draw some more dots. Okay, this is going to be number 13. 13. Here's our red line. There's our red line again. It's going diagonally. 13 says it intersects the red line. So in our intersecting lines, we had a line with arrows on both ends, and it crosses, so it meets at one point on the line, each line. So to draw an intersecting line for the red one, you could do it in any direction. You could do it across, you could do it straight up and down. Let's do a straight up and down one. There's an intersecting line. Here's an intersecting line. It could be any of these for number 13. Okay? Number 14, it intersects the green line and the purple line. So the red line, green. The green line went up and down. This was the green line. Let me draw my dot over more straight underneath this. Okay. And the purple line was across this way. Okay, and this is number 14. Go ahead and pause the video for your green line and your purple line. Number 14, I want you to draw a line that intersects. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and you try to draw a line and then unpause to see if your answer was correct. Okay, number 14. So drawing a line that intersects both of these, you could do it through here. You could do it this way. And it's a line, so it has two arrows on both ends, not just a line, but it has to have the two arrows because it's an intersecting line. Or you could have drawn a line that went this way. Those would be intersecting lines for number 14. Okay, today you're going to do workbook page 111. Tomorrow we will correct the workbook page, and then we will work on lesson 9.2. Keep practicing those vocab words for your test and quiz on Thursday, and each week we'll have some more words for you throughout this chapter 9, okay? So keep practicing those vocabs. Tomorrow we'll correct your workbook page. See you then.